tapestry of Jewish folklore, there exists a figure far more terrifying than a mere ghost. It's a spirit that doesn't just haunt a house, but invades the very sanctuary of the soul. It turns a living body into a prison of torment. We're talking about the Dybbuk, a restless spirit that clings to the living. The Dybbuk story begins in the mystical heart of Judaism Kabbalah. First mentioned in the sacred texts of the 16th century, the Dybbuk quickly became one of the most feared supernatural entities in Eastern European Jewish communities. The name itself, Dybbuk, comes from the Hebrew word dabak, meaning to cling or to attach. And that's exactly what it does. Unlike a ghost that simply haunts, a Dybbuk invades and attaches itself to the very soul and body of a living human. So, what is a Dybbuk? It's believed to be the spirit of a dead person who led a sinful life and was denied peace in the afterlife. Instead of moving on, this tormented soul wanders, seeking a new hostile living body to inhabit. But why does this possession happen? It could be for a number of reasons. Unfulfilled desires from a previous life, a punishment for a wicked soul, a result of forbidden rituals or black magic, or even a quest for revenge against the descendants of those who wronged them. How do you know if you are facing a Dybbuk? The symptoms are terrifyingly distinct. A sudden drastic change in voice or behavior, speaking languages the person has never learned, the unnerving twisting and contorting of the body, extreme rage, fear or violence. The victim might even reveal hidden knowledge they couldn't possibly have known otherwise. Driving out a Dybbuk is no simple task. It requires a rabbi or a spiritual leader who performs rituals rooted in Kabbalistic tradition. They use holy prayers, recite the sacred names of God, and chant specific incantations to command the Dybbuk to leave the host's body. In some cases, the spirit is trapped inside an object to prevent it from ever returning. This brings us to one of the most famous cases in modern folklore, the Dybbuk Box. This small wine cabinet gained notoriety for a simple reason. According to legend, it contained a Dybbuk and was responsible for causing nightmares, illness, and a whole slew of paranormal activity. This single object became so infamous, it inspired books, documentaries, and even the 2012 Hollywood film, The Possession. The Dybbuk is more than just a ghost story. It's a powerful cultural symbol and embodiment of unfinished business and divine punishment. In Jewish communities, real exorcisms have been recorded for centuries, and even today, paranormal investigators and collectors of cursed objects claim the Dybbuk is real, dangerous, and active. Is the Dybbuk a forgotten myth? Or is it a warning of a spiritual force that still walks among us, waiting to find a host? In the year 2001, in Portland, Oregon, a man named Kevin Mannis ran a small antique shop. He made his living buying and reselling old, unusual objects. One day, he attended an estate sale at the home of a recently deceased 103-year-old Jewish woman. Locals whispered that she had survived the Holocaust, carrying with her secrets and memories too dark to share. Inside her home were many relics of the past furniture, photographs, and religious artifacts. But one item in particular caught Kevin's attention: a small wooden wine cabinet, darkly polished and oddly unsettling. As he reached for it, the woman's granddaughter stopped him. Her face was pale, her voice trembling. "Please, sir, don't take this box. My grandmother always said it was cursed. She made me promise never open it, never keep it." To Kevin, it sounded like nothing more than superstition. To him, the box was simply a unique antique, perfect for resale. Ignoring the warning, he purchased it. What Kevin didn't realize was that this was no ordinary cabinet. It was the infamous Dybbuk Box, a prison for a restless spirit, waiting in silence, desperate to be free. Kevin brought the antique wine cabinet back to his shop. Curious, he unlocked it and opened its small doors. Inside, he found a collection of strange objects: a lock of blonde hair tied with a cord, another lock of dark black hair bound the same way, a small granite statue engraved with Hebrew letters, a dried rosebud, a golden goblet, and a strange old coin. The items felt personal, like fragments of someone's life, or maybe someone's rituals. That night, as Kevin locked up the shop and went home, he felt a cold heaviness in the air. The shadows seemed to stretch longer than usual, and an odd smell like rotten flowers and damp earth clung to him. When he finally fell asleep, he had his first nightmare. A dark, shadowy figure stood at the foot of his bed, its face hidden, its body twisted, its whisper like 1,000 voices at once. Kevin woke drenched in sweat, his chest tight, as if something invisible had been pressing down on him. It was only the beginning. Over the next few days, Kevin began to notice strange events, both at home and in his shop. Lights flickered without reason. The air carried a constant scent of rotting jasmine and cat urine, no matter how much he cleaned. But the worst came at night. Each time he closed his eyes, the same nightmare returned: a shadowy woman, her face twisted and blurred, standing over him. Her mouth would open, releasing a guttural scream, though no sound came out. Kevin described waking up in a state of sleep paralysis, unable to move, unable to breathe, while something heavy pressed against his chest. In those moments, he swore he could hear whispers in Hebrew, a language he had never learned. One morning, after a particularly violent night terror, Kevin found deep bruises on his arms, as though someone had gripped him tightly while he slept. The Dybbuk was no longer just inside the box. It had begun to cling to him. Kevin, disturbed but unwilling to believe in curses, decided to gift the wine cabinet to his mother for her birthday. He thought it would make a beautiful keepsake. The moment his mother opened the box, something went wrong. Her face went pale. Her body began to tremble, and within seconds, she collapsed to the floor. Kevin rushed her to the hospital, where doctors confirmed she had suffered a severe stroke. Though she survived, she was left partially paralyzed and unable to speak. When she finally managed to write a few words on a notepad, her message chilled Kevin to the bone. She scribbled only 2 words: "No gift." Kevin brushed it off as coincidence, but deep inside he felt a gnawing fear. He kept the cabinet locked away in his shop. But customers who visited soon began to complain. They said they felt cold drafts, smelled strange odors, and even heard whispering voices when they stood near the box. The curse had spread beyond him. It was no longer just Kevin's burden. It had become a danger to everyone around him. Shaken by what happened to his mother, Kevin decided the cabinet had to go. He offered it to friends, customers, even strangers, but each time it came back. One woman returned it within just 3 days, claiming the cabinet made her house reek of rotting flesh. Another man insisted he woke each night to see shadows crawling across his walls. Kevin then tried to store the box in his shop's basement. But every morning when he opened the store, he found the basement door wide open, even though he had locked it the night before. Desperate, he locked the cabinet in a storage room and left. That night, his shop's burglar alarm went off. When Kevin arrived, the room was in ruins, shelves knocked over. Glass shattered, but nothing had been stolen. The only thing out of place was the Dybbuk Box. It sat in the middle of the floor, its doors wide open. Whatever was inside it no longer wanted to be contained. Convinced he could never keep the wine cabinet, Kevin listed it on eBay, describing it honestly as a haunted box with a warning. He thought no one would believe him, but to his surprise, people were curious. A new owner purchased it, dismissing the stories as superstition. But within days, they reported the same disturbances: foul odors filling their home, nightmares of a withered old woman with sunken eyes, shadows moving in mirrors and dark corners. The buyer's family complained of constant illnesses, migraines, and anxiety attacks. Even their pets refused to go near the cabinet, hissing and scratching whenever it was in sight. Terrified, the family quickly sold it again. Each new owner shared the same fate: unexplained accidents, sickness, and sleepless nights filled with whispers. No one could keep it for long. The Dybbuk had found a way to move from victim to victim, spreading its curse through the box. As the Dybbuk Box passed from hand to hand, its reputation grew darker. Each new owner believed they could handle it, but each was proven wrong. One college student who bought it online claimed his hair began falling out in clumps after only a week. He reported waking to find giant bruises along his arms and legs, as if something had grabbed him during the night. Another family kept the box in their living room. Soon, every member of the household began suffering from the same nightmare. A shadow woman with hollow eyes standing at the foot of their bed, silently watching, then lunging forward with an open mouth. Neighbors, too, began complaining of strange electrical surges in the area whenever the family owned the box. Lights flickered, appliances short-circuited, and the house itself smelled of burnt hair and sulfur. No one could explain it. No one could endure it. The box kept moving from one unlucky victim to the next, leaving behind a trail of fear, illness, and despair. It was becoming clear. The Dybbuk was not bound to a house or person. It was bound only to the box, and the curse was eternal. As the legend of the Dybbuk Box spread online, it drew the attention of skeptics, collectors, and even scientists. Some believed it was nothing more than mass hysteria, fueled by imagination and fear. A group of researchers acquired the box, determined to prove it harmless. They placed it in a controlled environment using cameras, sensors, and electromagnetic detectors to monitor activity. For the first few hours, nothing unusual happened. Then, suddenly, electronics failed without explanation. Cameras shut down one by one. A powerful electrical surge burned out the main equipment. The room filled with a sharp, acrid smell, a mix of sulfur and rotting flowers. One researcher reported feeling as though someone was standing directly behind him, breathing on his neck. Yet the cameras, before cutting off, showed no one there. Another scientist, a hardened skeptic, later admitted that during the experiment he heard whispers in a language he didn't recognize. The sound wasn't captured on any recording device. When the team attempted to store the cabinet afterward, they found its doors wide open, though no one had touched it. The Dybbuk Box had resisted being studied. It refused to be treated as a mere object. By now, the Dybbuk Box had a notorious reputation. Every owner wanted only one thing to get rid of it, but simply passing it along only spread the curse further. Finally, a group of spiritual leaders and scholars of Jewish mysticism decided to intervene. They believed the only way to contain the Dybbuk was through a binding ritual, one that would trap the spirit inside permanently. Late one night, in a secluded location, they gathered with the box at the center of a circle of salt and sacred texts. Ancient Kabbalistic prayers were chanted, invoking the holy names of God to banish the wandering soul. The ritual was long and grueling. The participants reported feeling sudden gusts of icy wind, though the air around them was still. Candles blew out on their own. Some swore they saw a shadow figure pacing just outside the circle, waiting. At the climax of the ritual, the Dybbuk Box shook violently, as if something inside it was trying to escape. A blood-curdling scream echoed in the room, though none of the participants' voices matched it. When the final words were spoken, the box grew still. Its doors slammed shut with a force that cracked the wood. The Dybbuk was sealed, but only for now. For years, the Dybbuk Box remained hidden away, sealed by ritual and silence. But legends have a way of resurfacing. In the 2000s, collectors and paranormal enthusiasts began searching for it, drawn by its dark reputation. Eventually, the box was acquired by a museum dedicated to the supernatural. Visitors reported chills, sudden migraines, and even fainting when standing too close to its display. Staff members avoided the room entirely, claiming to hear muffled cries and scratching sounds from within the glass case. One night, security footage showed the box protective casing shaking violently, though no one was near it. The glass did not break, but the next morning, guards found handprints smeared across the inside, as if something had tried to claw its way out. Experts warn that the Dybbuk Box is not an artifact to be admired, but a prison. The spirit within waits patiently, feeding on fear, whispering in dreams, longing for another host. And as long as the box exists, The curse can never truly be destroyed.